Hello Internet, thank you once again for joining me to talk all things vertical drama. I'm really happy to welcome this guest because he is the star of a new show that's just come out on Salty TV, which is blinking phenomenal, and it is the amazing Steven Morana. So I'm going to ask him to start us off by giving a brief introduction of himself to you, the entire world and the Internet.
Well, thank you, Jen, for those kind words. Steven Morana here, actor, producer, traveler, explorer, and just very happy to be a part of Red Talons and whatever comes next. So I'm here to dive in. I know Jen has been very excited to get into it, and I'm happy to share. We have some good stories to tell, so tune in.
Okay, so we're going to start with where we need to start. Acting, was it always on the cards, or is it something you came to later in life? Were there other passions you could have pursued?
Yeah, I always loved acting. It's always been my passion. I'm just one of those people that always knew, I guess. I was 7 when I first started, and I was lucky to have some great, well, my parents were always very supportive, but some great mentors along the way. I was in my school, there was a after school daycare program. Okay, so like where parents would leave their kids after they've done their class, and it had an extensive art aspect to it, a supporter of the arts. And so we would have once a year a big play, and that's where I got into it, where I actually played Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol.
That is an awesome role to have.
I know, it was pretty cool, especially when you're 7. You're like, and they filled up the auditorium. There was like 200 to 300 people in there, packed house, and I was this lead playing Scrooge. And I think, yeah, I've never looked back since. I think it really was that I had that confidence and support when I was young, and it just always felt natural to me. And so from there, I kept on doing plays through school, and then in high school, I got into an arts program specifically for acting, and that was like more serious study. We got like a separate diploma for studying under that, and then from there, I just always needed to be a part of me. So I'm just one of those people. I didn't fall into it, whatever. I just always knew, and I've always loved it, and keeping that child spirit at heart at all times.
So once you were acting as an adult, kind of where are you based, and have you sort of moved around? Have you worked in different countries? Kind of where's acting taken you travel-wise?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, and I moved to Los Angeles almost 7 years ago now, and went through the visas. I finally got my green card about a year and a half ago, and that really helped get me more work, because it can be tough when you don't have the right papers. Certain studios won't work with you, or certain jobs you can't do. But that's been my journey, I still work in Canada. I still have an agent out there, and a lot of my credits that I built up started in Canada. But now, ever since I've come to LA, things have really gone international. In the last year, I've filmed in Mexico, Turkey. I did a shoot in Saudi Arabia, and obviously shooting in LA. And who knows where I'm going to go next, but LA's truly a international hub, and plus the weather's great. It's much better. I love back home, but it's much better than Toronto. So I live nearby the beach, like in the Santa Monica area, and so it's nice to, if you want to ever clear your head, to go out there and just go surfing, or just walk the beach or whatever.
That sounds amazing. So obviously you've done a lot of work, and anyone who looks at your IMDb can see you've done lots of different shows. Where do verticals come in then? So when did they first, as a working actor in LA, did you start hearing about these things?
So, yeah, I kind of, even with I think it was at probably the end of 2023, going into 2024, I had made it to the final round for audition on, I didn't even know, they didn't even use that term at that point. It was just a new medium that was shot vertically. They just described it as movies that were being segmented. But that same director, Jared Patrick. I had a close call. I almost got that one, but they went with somebody else. But then he came back to me months later and approached me for Mafia Temptation. I still had to audition, but he's like, I really like, your tape from the last read, and, we're doing this new project I think you're perfect for. And so I auditioned for it, but that one I got, and then, the rest was history from there. They flew me into Mexico. The premise was supposed to be set in Miami, but we shot in Cancun and Playa del Carmen. And man, it was a beautiful experience. That's what I like to do anywhere where I shoot. I like to go travel afterwards and do mini vacations. It was gorgeous. I went to Tulum after, and Chichen Itza, and the cenotes there are just magical. I recommend it to anyone that goes to that side of the world. There's so many different types, and it's just beautiful to be immersed in that. That was my experience as far as flew me in. They put me up at a hotel, and I was in this world where Mafia Temptation, the script really spoke to me because it had so many elements of like great drama that I wanted to showcase, right? There was like great action scenes, drama, romance. It had it all, and they shot in so many locations. We really had quite some great production value on that project. So I just that's from there. It got on my radar. But then again, like I was doing other projects and going in and out, and like I didn't really hear like strong. I mean, it's moving so fast, I found, and so then the term vertical and how they were starting to really blow up, I really heard at the end of last year when we were doing auditions and talks for Red Talons, where things were like, wow, this is a real thing. And even when I was talking with Christiane, I had met her a few years ago at Screamfest. She had a movie out there that she was selected for, Aftertaste, and I know she was a great director. I'd seen her stuff. I'd always want to work with her, and we'd always been in touch, but we never had the opportunity. And so she reached out to me and was asking about my experience on Mafia Temptation, because she was pitching an idea that she was doing, which became Red Talons. And it was cool how I saw it from the beginning, how it evolved, and then she brought me into audition, of course, and then that turned out to what you see now. So in the present state that we see, like verticals, I kind of feel like there was the first wave.
Yeah.
We're in like wave number 2, where there is a true fan base happening now. There's a movement happening. They're evolving. The level of quality, production value is skyrocketing. The acting, all aspects, the directors that are being attracted to do these things. And I don't even know if they're a vertical anymore. It's just a different platform. It's just a different way of showing film and series. And that was always our approach when Christiane and I talked. We're like, this is just a new medium. This is just where the future's headed. So let's shoot a really cool movie. And that's what you saw. It's like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Like, we know what good stories are, good projects are. Let's just adapt it to this medium,
So I think the key in this one is that obviously Christiane wrote it, whereas obviously quite a lot of verticals that we know that have sort of really championed the genre are taken from Chinese web novels that then turn into Chinese verticals that do well there, and then they transplant over. So obviously I think it works on a novelty value because people haven't necessarily seen those stories, but then there's also, it doesn't always quite work. Whereas I think what's great about this one is because it's been written from the ground up. It's totally made for a universal audience, I would say. It's written for everyone. Were you kind of involved in the development of the script and the story, given that you were in touch with Christiane from so far back? Or was it very much presented to you as, this is the finished product, I'd love you to read for Victor?
Other than she just wanted to pick my brain about my experience from previous projects, previous vertical projects that I had done. But she was just in that mode of writing and pitching and getting it off the ground. And she wanted me to be involved when there was an opportunity. But I was just like, sharing my stories and what the experience was, and like some good things, some things that I would do differently, right?
Yeah.
And so, but no, like that was something that I got so excited. And I was really hoping I could be a part of, because I was like, because she sent me the script, like she wrote it really fast. I remember we talked about it. I went to Canada for a few weeks, and when I got back, she's like, "Yeah, here's the script, and can you read this week? We need it in by Wednesday." I'm like, "What? A matter of a few weeks?" Like, I think she said she wrote it in like 6 days or under a
Wow.
week or something like that. She's brilliant. So
But it makes sense because I think when you're in the flow, sometimes when you're in that
yeah,
zone of
yeah,
genius, it just goes boom, doesn't it, and comes
yeah,
out. So, yeah.
yeah. And that's some of the best projects come that way. So she just she sent it to me, and I was like looking at it, I was like, oh my God, this is a first. I remember the first draft was, there was like no, not even like spelling errors or typos or anything like that. I'm like, you never see that in first drafts, right? So she just was really on point right off the jump. And so yeah, I was just a supporter. I was just like, I would love to be a part of this. And then, when I got the role, then we start to exchange, my ideas on character and what she saw, and it became a collaboration. But yeah, initially I just saw the script, and you're so right about that. Like any type of project, it always starts with the script, and you can tell the quality of a project based on the script, right? It always starts there, and if that's, you're going to set yourself up for failure if that's off. No matter how good the actors are, every other element, the cinematographer and so on, that's where it starts. So we had that, and I already knew that, oh my God, this is going to be something special. And I was just excited. I'm like, let's go. Like, let's do the stunts. Let's go. I want to do, like, everybody was like that too, by the way. Like, I was so fortunate. We all were. Everybody brought their A game. Everybody was willing to put 1,000% into it. And so, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about film and this medium, is that it's a collective effort. And when everybody's firing on the same page, wow, what a connection, what a synergy that brings.
So there's a lot of things I now need to ask you in detail. So the first thing I want to ask you about is obviously one of the things, because obviously people will know I've interviewed Christiane for YouTube, and there's a lot of physicality in this. Obviously Christiane has brought in
Oh
actual
yeah,
stunt performers doing it. But I'm sure that one of the reasons you work so well in the role is because you have your martial arts background. So I was if you go on your Instagram, you've got one of those link tree things, and you have basically a clip roll, don't you, on Vimeo of you doing martial
yeah.
arts. Am I right in that I spotted James Black in that?
Well, that was actually from a rehearsal that we
Oh,
did.
so I was like, did you
Yeah,
already know? And like, how did that come about? Because I'm
yeah.
sure that's partly why it works so well, because as well as Christiana be able to bring in people with those skills, you can hold your own with them. And it looks phenomenal on screen.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and actually we talked about that, and that was something I was really excited about. I was like, Christiane, I can do all my own stunt. I do all my own stunts. I had been in many scenes in the past, wire work, crash pads. I'd done a lot of stunts for camera, but also I'm a martial artist. Like, that's just a hobby of mine. I train in Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, Krav Maga. I have a lot of Kung Fu background, so it's just like I do that just as a hobby all the time, and it's great when it's a skill that I can apply on set.
Yeah.
And so, that was a big thing that we talked about. And you got to be smart about how you're going to pull this off, because we're limited with budget, we're limited with rehearsal time, and the only way you're going to save that time, and you don't, because if you're doing a big Marvel film or something, you don't have any background, you have 6 months to a year to train that actor to get to that level, or whoever, or the main cast. But in our situation, Christiane was smart in casting people that were talented actors, but also talented martial artists. I mean, we're not just talking about just, some side thing. Like, these people are black belts, national champions, right? Like the best of the best. And so when you have people that strong and familiar and have been doing it their whole lives, when you go on set and you're like, we can only do a couple takes, or, we did some rehearsal time, like you saw from that footage. We did like rehearsal, and we would rehearse on set and any in between time, but really relatively small amount of time was made. But what we're able to pull off is just because of that experience. So we could do it 1-2 takes, boom. We knew exactly what the moves were. a lot of it we actually created ourselves. Like James and I would choreograph something and then have Renz look over. He was our stunt coordinator. And then he would, make some adjustments or suggest some things, but it was a collaboration. Sometimes Renz would give us a whole choreography, or we would come up with something and they might tweak it, but a lot of the things that we came up with, they would use. So because everybody's a martial artist, it's easy to be like, yeah, well, this would be kind of cool. And like, we're just flowing, So that was really fun. Have just such an experienced cast that equally could deliver on the drama and the physicality. And that's what you see on camera is like, I don't think there's been many verticals, let alone indie films, that can pull off that type of action quality. So I was very lucky to have such a great team, because you're only as good as your co-stars as your cast, to sell those scenes. So it's special.
One of the things that I really liked about it is obviously there's been, a whole variety of different style werewolf verticals, and obviously there's different ways of approaching it. And this is the first one where I think, probably because of that, but also the way you act and the physicality you bring in, that you do feel instantly, you feel that these are all very dangerous people. And I don't think you always get that feeling with werewolves. And then I think it's also every time, it starts from the beginning of like just the fact that you've got these two different packs, and it always feels like a tinderbox. It always feels like the slightest thing and it's all going to explode and people are going to be dead. Mm-hmm. Like, how was it? Because that's quite a level of tension to maintain throughout it, but you do, and it's brilliant.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Well, I feel like, we definitely wanted to bring that animalistic, primal feeling. We're still in this fantasy world, but also make it, there's a human side to it as well, where, just this ruggedness that we wanted to bring. But I feel, we had some great character discussions with Christiane before. A lot of us met up on our own time leading up to the shoot. It was also really good that we had more time than usual to prepare, because usually with verticals, a lot of times it's like they tell you a week before, 5 days, 2 days before, and you just have to be there, and there's like no prep. That does make there is a huge difference when you have, I think we had maybe from like 3 weeks or 4 weeks to review the script, figure out our characters, meet up with each other, have that chemistry. So there was a lot of trust and things established before day one. And that makes all the difference. It translates on screen, right? When you can afford to do it, I know there's not always that opportunity, but the more time you have to prep, you're going to save on budget when you get to camera, because you could do it in a couple takes and it's going to be like spot on. But also it's just that it translates on screen as far as the chemistry. So I think that was established. We knew our characters, we knew our marks, and then we would do drills, I guess, in between. Sometimes Christiane would have us just shout out or howl or just get into it, right? Like before we were going to roll, I would just holler out, scream out, do a werewolf cry or whatever, and then go into it. I think that too, it's it works, in sports or what have you, when everybody does a big cheer or rally. So she would rally us in between takes sometimes to keep that energy up. Sometimes when, it's interesting that you saw that, where we needed that, there could be at any moment just chaos. It's just gonna break out, and it does, right? We have those war scenes afterwards, but feeling that tension throughout, that is ready to makes for exciting viewership, right?
No, 100%. Well, that makes a lot of sense that that's how she kept it up. So obviously I have to talk to you about working with your amazing co-star Anna.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because boy, are you two good together. Partly again because it's so well written. When do you reckon Victor starts to fall for her? What did you and Anna decide, and sort of when it turns from sort of related, because it's a proper visceral hatred at the beginning. That's why I think it's so good, because often it's they're bickering. It's no, these people genuinely cannot stand each other, and there's years and years of enmity there. So it's more powerful when it does turn into a relationship of them helping each other.
Yeah, I think, again, the chemistry that you were seeing was because Anna and I, we take it very seriously. We met up a lot before we even shot. We didn't live too far from each other. Luckily, we would like meet up for coffee, meet at the beach, just like try and run lines, try and workshop things. And we built a nice friendship even before day one. And then even every day on set, we were hanging out at our hotel room, like rehearsing for the next day, trying to talk about like last minute things that we wanted to do. So like, again, there was a lot of prep, but then also room for play, which makes it more authentic on the day too, because that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that spontaneity, you're seeing that authenticity that can only be captured when you're in that flow state with that other scene partner. So yeah, she was so talented, and just I just really, some people you just connect with really well, and so we just were able to just feed off each other's energy as far as that moment, because I was definitely trying when I was working through the script, like the arcs of like, because Victor comes off such a, he's kind of like an anti-hero type of guy. He's not the nicest, most lovable type of person. He's got like a dark past, and we get some redeemable qualities later on, and I wanted to kind of show that contrast and make it feel like I needed to find the motives of why that would make sense, rather than some jarring like, oh, we just need to place this for a plot point. It really did feel like there was a character arc there. And so again, the writing mapped it out so well, and I was just trying to find his internal struggle of not being able, not having the best experience in his relationships, having maybe been in relationships that are for the wrong reasons for his title or for whatever. Now you have someone else that's of a similar position as him, but comes from this rivalry, and they're in this kind of forbidden love situation where they both hate each other, both families hate each other. But I would say, you see that shift when they're being attacked, when he has to step in. I think he's attracted to, in my mind, he's attracted to her because she's like handling business all by herself. She doesn't give a crap what anybody thinks. She's very strong-minded on her position on things, and she also physically beats up everybody. So I think he was attracted.
In a dress and heels, let's add that.
Yeah. So I think the attraction for him was he's finally met his match. He's finally someone that mentally can meet him and challenge him and put him in his place. And I think that was the attraction to finally like, this is the woman that I want to build my empire with, my like where we go forward in our pack, right? So it was more so what started as business became something like, wow, this is somebody that I really respect. And then the physicality, other stuff followed suit, of course. But I think that was the shift. For sure. I guess these things in the heat of battle, as they say, that's where you see.
Nothing like bonding people about the common enemy. Mind you, there's a bigger enemy. Because the other thing I was thinking about it is often when these slightly more, I guess, kind of alpha type male leads are written, they're not that nuanced, and they're quite sort of stompy and not that emotionally intelligent. Whereas I think what I really liked about Victor is from the beginning, if he can always see a bigger picture. So like the fact that he's like, look, I don't really like her, but in order to make things work, I'm going to have to help her out on this thing at night in order to make things better. And I think there was an intelligence that he has that male lead characters aren't always given. I don't know if you've seen that in scripts, but...
Yeah, I mean, I like to always bring some sort of complexity to the character, even if it's not written. Luckily, it was very well written this time. It took the pressure off that, like, how do I make this? how do I bring more complexity to this, or how do I enhance this? But here, I was more like, and Christiane and I were on the same page for the most part, and I was like, I see this transition here. I see what he's going to have to struggle with this, and it was always about not having like your typical stereotypical alpha male type of situation. I mean, this is a strong male lead that is going to cry, is going to get vulnerable, is going to, feel like his whole world is crumbling beneath him, like he needs to. I wanted to show that vulnerability. Actually, that's a big thing I like to bring to characters. I mean, everybody wants to play it like that robotic, like it's so boring. It's not real. Like nobody, even if, how long can you hold that act? Really, nobody is just one dimensional like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just wanted to bring more reality to the situation. I wanted to bring more complexity to the situation. I wanted to just make it as authentic as you can in a mystery fantasy werewolf universe. I think it's possible. You can have the fantasy and still have the humanity. And so, no, I appreciate, and Anna did the exact same thing. I mean, everybody on set, we were all trying to find that humanity in the characters. And so, yeah, I really, I would really push for Victor to have those moments where he needed to just break apart or worry about his family that he needs to defend now, or his baby, and just see him fall apart and just be weak and not know if they're going to get through this, how they're going to survive this. So yeah, no, it was fun to play with that for sure.
I also have to say it is the best looking vertical ever, as in the production
Yes.
design, the costumes, the sets are phenomenal. You have some mighty fine hats and suits going on in this.
There's a
I
lot
mean,
of outfits going on, right?
it's amazing, and it's like a real mix, isn't it? There's a sort of bit of bohemian. I kind of thought sort of that 1940s, 50s kind of noir. I mean, what
Yes.
were your favourite looks, I guess? Was there anything
Oh,
you were like, I quite like this hat, this can come home with me?
the fur. That fur
Yeah.
overcoat. Oh my God. It was so cool. And then I got to fight in it too. That was fun. That was fun. I don't know, it's just the grandeur of it. It's very werewolfy, very felt like very Game of Thrones almost.
It
Uh,
is quite, yeah. I see what
like
you're
a
saying.
like
That
a
it was a bit.
Jon Snow
You could be on the
vibe.
wall, couldn't you? Up with Jon Snow on the
Yeah.
wall. And that.
Yeah, and it definitely it felt like that at times. I mean, we had talked about Christiana talked about there was this influence of Peaky Blinders, like it was supposed to be that Victorian era. The places we shot were heritage homes. One of them in Riverside was 144 years old, and it actually was haunted.
Is that the
Um,
haunted one? I need to
yeah,
ask you about the
haunted.
haunted one. I've heard stories.
Yeah, so there were some stories there, and that kind of fueled the grandeur of just getting into the world too. Though, like you really felt because all the furniture, a lot of it was original pieces. It just sucked you in, and so yeah, that definitely the furry overcoats was my vibe for sure, and yeah, they were so meticulous with that, and I think that pulled you in, right? Like
Oh, 100%.
our wardrobe, everybody had a distinct look. And again, that's Christiane's vision to bring that sense of detail. And then, her and Oscar together, our cinematographer, were just the dynamic duo. They also work together on Power Play as well. And I hope they continue to work together. And I hope we all work together. I just saw him
Yeah.
actually at a film festival on the weekend. I gave him a big hug. I'm like, bro, congrats, man. This has been, what a journey, what a response. Because it really has been overwhelming. Everybody in the vertical community has really embraced us on this because it's on a smaller platform, Salty TV. They're the new up and comer, but I guess it's given them room to explore on stuff that other platforms haven't done yet, and it shows. It's setting a new precedent.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's leading. I think it's leading the way, pioneering. Um, I have to ask then about the house. So, what were the scenes that were filmed in the house, and can you share a story about the haunted house?
Well, as far as like the haunted experiences that I saw, I didn't experience anything. Although I did sage the place just to give good vibes
Yeah.
before we go on set. I saged it a few times, but I don't know if Christiane mentioned to you, but she had said that like there was one night, I don't know who it was, if it was one of our producers, Bianca, that slept in one of the rooms, that they heard knocking at the door overnight because a few people would sleep in the house,
Yeah.
and so they heard some knocking in the middle of the night, and they would check around, and it kept on. There was knockings that continued to happen throughout the
Yeah.
night, and then I think they also had mentioned that they heard a voice on the radio, and no one had spoken, and they were like, "Who just said that?" or whatever, and like, and even the people that managed the household,
Yeah.
that came in and out a few times, very very sweet, very open with us using the space. They said that they had seen these people that haunt the place and watch over it. So, I mean, I don't know if you believe in that sort of thing, but there was a lot of accounts. And the pictures of the original couple were up on the wall. I have
Oh,
some
wow.
footage of it. I should post some BTS on that because we did talk about it on set at the time. And I think they still watch over the house 144 years later.
I
So,
wonder what their view of verticals is. So yeah, what about where did you film the outside stuff? Because there's quite a lot of that's in this sort of beautiful lush woodland. Just wondered where that was filmed because it looks
yeah,
amazing
yeah.
as well.
So, again, very smart. This is for all you filmmakers out there. How you can extend uh, a location is find a location, like find a cool house that has a really cool big property, and that's what Christiane did. Was we had one of our mansions have a big forest and field area, so we shot a lot of stuff on just the outside, same location but just different areas. There was one area though, Eton, that where we did like those scenes with the family, that like we're all like embracing,
Yeah.
and like the kids are older, where that was like a special location. And actually, unfortunately, that got affected by the fires. And so Chrissy and I were talking about it because she was affected quite a bit too. She had to like leave with her family for a few weeks to just get away from. Thankfully, no one was affected physically by it, but mentally, definitely was hard. I had friends stay over at my place that had to evacuate at one point. But this location specifically, that was in the Altadena area, it was nice to have this tribute and capture that essence. And I hope, over the years it can get back to what it was. But it was nice that we were able to shoot there and
Sure.
showcase that. Yeah, so that water that you see, the young kids, all those scenes in that
Yeah.
forestry area, yeah, that was all there.
So I have to ask as well about the ending. It's the whole thing's very good, and then the ending is
Thank
like,
you.
oh, that's an ending. So I can't say what it is, but it's such
Yeah,
a good
without giving
ending.
spoilers.
And I did not see it coming until right at the moment, which I appreciate a lot. Um, it's set up for a sequel, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean that's it's like you could take it as an end, but it's so set up for a sequel.
It really is. Like it could be a whole universe in itself. We,
Exactly.
we could make it a trilogy
Yeah,
and
it feels
beyond.
like it's the prequel to
Mhm.
potentially one of your children's story. That's what it feels like to me.
It could very well. I mean, it really depends. I guess this is on Christiane if she wants to do right after. Is there more of a war or battle that happens? You could do it years later and work on a separate story where when the kids are older. There's a few directions, but I hope. I said to Christiane, if it's not a sequel, something else, I'd love to work with her anytime, 1,000%.
Yeah. I have to ask as well, just when you read the script, did you have that moment that I had when you watched it? Like, oh, that's such a good ending. Did you
Yeah,
have that?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
even said, I'm like, so we could do sequels on this. She's like, yeah, I've thought about, she's mapped it all out. So I guess it really depends on, Salty TV, Christiane, the right timing. Can we bring the gang back together
Yeah,
and
we
do
need
it
to see
again?
more.
I mean, I would, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about is obviously promoting these things is quite a different job, and I think you've been amazing at generating interest yourself for it. Obviously, you got in touch with me and we've been talking about it. Um, how does that work now? Because it does seem to be something, as I'm talking to people around the globe, and I know it's something that there's a bit of a struggle in the UK at the moment. If I don't think the actors and actresses quite realise that they can use social media to kind of drive the verticals forward, raise their profile, and get it to the stage where they can do more. Whereas I think generally everyone in America seems a bit more savvy, and you in particular seem to be absolutely brilliant at it. So I guess I want to say, with your marketing head, what advice would you have, and what was important to you to kind of to publicize this?
I feel maybe it's from my producing background too, because I also produce and see it from behind the camera. When I've done campaigns for other projects, another werewolf project, Beast Within, on Amazon, actually, when we were doing that launch, it was so important to get the word out through social media and share and connect. And I did like a tour, because it was a horror film, at different horror conventions, and I saw the impact, like talking directly with the fans, with the audience that appreciate your work. And I mean, that's really special, is connecting with the community. So I just feel like, especially now, like social media is the number one way to get the message out there. You know, TV, billboards, all these things. These are like lower and lower percentage of the marketing, like plan strategy these days. I feel like your focus should be on social media, but it's just very interesting. A lot of all the talented people that I've worked with, like Christiane being one of them, we met at a festival. We stayed in touch because of social media for 2 years. And then all of a sudden she messaged me saying, hey, I want to talk to you about verticals. So that's one example. And Red Talons would not be what it is if it wasn't for that exchange, you see? So it's like there's so many projects that I get because they appreciate what I'm doing. There's an exchange happening, right? And it's a community builder. I also feel that, you've got to have a sense of, you got to be proud of what you're doing. I don't know, I can't speak for these other actors. I don't know if they like what they're doing or if they got other things that they're doing, but I'm really proud of the projects that I sign off on. If I'm going to put my name on something, I'm going to put 1,000% into it, right? And so, I feel that it's really important to get the message out there, to respond to the people that appreciate you. I mean, that's such a gift. And so I always want to like respond to any of the fans, anybody that wants to reach out and say how it impacted them. I mean, that's why we do this. Like, that's why I did this when I was 7. I love the fact that I could get up on stage and have that exchange with an audience, and they responded, and I impacted them in some way. So I guess maybe, if we're talking philosophically, that's what drives me, is that I love to be in that flow state where I'm connecting with my audience. That's why I'm an actor. And if there's a story that I can tell that resonates with them, that's the dream. So why wouldn't I use social media to extend that reach?
You're like, why wouldn't I? But I honestly think Red Talons sets a bar not only for obviously writing, acting, action, look, design, but actually in how you've marketed it. Both yourself, Cruz, everyone at Salty TV. I think it's a masterclass in marketing, and just go and have a look at how they did this. Because the poster for Red Talons has been on Salty TV for a long, long time.
Yes.
It's piqued interest, and that's really clever, I think, as well.
Yeah, well, wow, I'm glad you noticed that. I feel like it's been frustrating in the past when the team doesn't do a marketing push and people don't see it, because there's a good stuff out there that gets missed. And so what Salty TV was very good about, Christiane, the whole team, they were very they were very open in talking, and actually they were very cool with me kind of having free reign and posting. Like, I always got approval, and even when we were talking, like making sure like it was cool with Salty TV, whatever footage or stuff you had. So I got the green light from them, but they were very hands-on and worked with me on posting, on getting the word out there, and they were very active. So that really helps us, because you have now days to lead up to something to post it out, and that's what I'm used to in the Hollywood model. The traditional Hollywood model, you do start, a campaign 4 to 6 weeks out, right? And even before then, you start doing like little sizzle, but like you really go hard the last 6 weeks. Whereas, I think something that the vertical space can build upon is like, don't just drop it and then just like hope that your subscribers, I mean, that's good if you have like a huge built up account, but even then, I think people will appreciate you doing a little marketing. You do it like a traditional film or series, from Hulu or HBO or something, where they give a little hype, they give you a little bit of a sizzle reel to kind of get you to pique your interest, right? Because now it's getting more saturated, and now what's happening is everybody's just dropping like 10 verticals a week, and it's just like, where are my attention going to go? Like, where is the effort put? And are the artists engaging with the audience and are really excited about the story? Because if they don't believe in it, why would I believe in it? Right? So I feel like, I was very lucky that Salty TV had this vision from the marketing side. Yeah, you're right. Every part of production was just done at a professional level, at a level that I've seen with Hollywood films that I've been involved in. So the way I saw this is just another Hollywood film that I was a part of that just split up into 50 something parts. And I'm just on this cool new platform. That's how we all envisioned it.
Can we look at the swag? You're wearing your swag. It's very good merch.
Yeah. They give it to us on set, actually. I thought it was a good time to show it. And this is like...
I'm liking the arm. You see, it's very smart. The arm's amazing. That's really cool, isn't it? Yeah,
so I thought this was a good time to shout out Salty TV, celebrate, us being launched now with Red Talons. And I think I hope that the community just continues to build, and we can continue to set the bar with these higher quality programs, verticals that we're putting out. I don't want there to be this label that it needs to be, this is a vertical, or this is a show, or this is... Why can't it just be an art form that's shot in vertical, that it might as well just be a Hollywood film that you can see anywhere?
I think that's a wonderful thing. So the obvious way to end is going, what's next? Where might we see you next?
Let's see.
Would you direct, produce, write yourself? Just what's coming?
I am, on the acting side, as far as like, it's not a vertical, but I'm going to be in a horror film called Catnip that's coming out at the end of the year. And it's going to be, I have the co-stars are Chevy Chase, the legend Chevy Chase, and Bruce Dern. So that'll be exciting. As far as what I'm looking for, I want to continue to do great vertical projects. I definitely want to work with Christiane and Salty TV, hopefully. But beyond, I am writing a little bit, and I am in talks to start to produce a slate of verticals specifically, and actually shoot them in Canada. So I'm working with some cool partners there. But whether it's in front or behind the scenes, always doing a little bit of both. So whatever new projects that get greenlit, you're going to be the first to know, Jen. We're going to be back here probably sooner rather than later.
I want like a returning thing where you come back and you give us updates every 6 to 9 months of sort of what's next for you.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything you're doing for the community. It's really special because not only are you're covering the stories, but you're going deeper on the psychological side. You're trying to help actors and crews and people in the industry and the fans navigate this fairly new medium and special movement that's happening. And so I love that you're championing it. I love that you're being such a great ambassador for all of us. And I just appreciate you. You showcasing me, and you've been so gracious with me and just the project, the whole process. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time and being willing to spend 45 minutes with me talking verticals. But yeah, it's been an absolute delight. You're a superstar. Anyone who hasn't watched it, go and watch Red Talons now, and then somehow get in touch with Salty TV and tell them we need a sequel, because that's what needs to happen.
Let's keep it going.
Thank you so much. You're an absolute superstar.
Thank you.
Right, press stop. Hang on, my mouse has gone.